It's our last morning at Snyder Hill in Tucson. We are going to go north of Tucson to Marana on towards Phoenix Way from Tucson, but still in the Tucson area. Check out Marana. There's a BLM up there called Pump Station Road that has a ton of good reviews and looks like a neat place to be. So we're gonna go stay there for a few nights. Here we are at Pump Station Road, west of Tucson. This is BLM land in the Ironwood National Monument, and it's a really beautiful place. Lots of room to spread out. Kids are playing out there. Kind of see them. It's really, really pretty out here. Cool today, 63 was the high. Tomorrow we're going to be back in the 80s. Lots of creosote, lots of rocks.
Hey folks, this is going to be a quick review of Pump Station Road Dispersed camping just west of Marana, Arizona. After visiting the Tucson area and maxing out our stay at Snyder Hill, we needed a place just to stay for a few more days. We just needed to wait a little bit longer for the weather to warm up. It was in the middle of a cold stretch. There was going to be some windy weather up in higher elevations, so we just wanted to wait and get some better weather for travel and for staying in Holbrook. This is a really pretty site at Pump Station Road. The surrounding views of mountains are very pretty. Sunsets again out here are very pretty. There's plenty of space to spread out here. There's a decent number of spaces to camp. But when you're down here in February and March, it will be pretty full. That is in busy time, and we found it to be exactly that. We couldn't be too picky on the spot that we wanted to stay, but there were a few to choose from. There is an airport nearby which seems to be a hub of some sort of aero sports club. We saw a lot of gliders flying around. We saw motorized planes towing these gliders, and then they would separate. The plane would go back down and land, and then the gliders would fly around a bit. During the weekend, we saw as many as 2 and 3 gliders in the air at one time, so that was fun to watch. We've heard there's skydiving there also. We did not see any of that.
This is a really terrible place for a dog with hair like mine, because these are all little seeds and they're tiny and fine and they get in her hair and it's terrible.
We did have a couple of issues at this site which were pretty specific to our situation. There were some seed heads that had formed on some native grass, and that was causing some issues for our furry little dog Rosie, and caused some headaches for her and Selena, and keeping that clean. Eventually we would just walk her on the roads and not let her walk around in the grass at all. Good morning. It is Monday, April 23rd. Today is going to be 84 degrees with wind gusts up to 60 miles an hour. We got some work to do around the site to get ready. So we're going to spin it, get the rear end maybe over or a lot closer to that fire pit right there. It'll hit the back end where the kids' room is, but by the time they're going to sleep tonight, it should start backing down. And there's a lot of things around the campsite itself we got to pick up. There was also a windstorm that hit while we were there, and we had to reorient the RV so the wind would hit at the rear of the RV instead of slamming into the side. Like I said, those are pretty specific to us, but they kept that site experience down into the average range as opposed to being good. Okay, we did it. We are now oriented southwest. You can kind of see our tracks here, how we were oriented. For shopping and propane, you do have places to go in nearby Marana, and then northwest Tucson is 20 to 30 minutes away. If you're wanting to go to a Walmart, or we need to get some tires, or any other shopping you need to do, northwest Tucson would probably be where you'd go, and that's about 20 or 30 minutes away. Water was a little bit of an issue. That was more like 40 minutes away. So if you can show up to this site full of water, that would be advised. There's a travel station to the northwest up I-10 past Picacho Peak State Park that had free water. Our cell service was average to good here. We didn't have any issues with our Verizon or AT&T. The location of Pump Station Road is kind of a mixed bag. You're not nearby anything really great. You are in Ironwood Forest National Monument, if that means anything to you. Picacho Peak State Park is nearby. We found that right at the end, and I wish we had more time to actually visit the park and hike around, but that is a very beautiful state park and definitely worth a visit. It is kind of a remote location, much like the Mescal Road review we put up a few weeks ago, but being between Tucson and Phoenix makes this site a bit better. Like I've said, you're about 30 minutes away from the extreme northwestern parts of Tucson, and in an hour to an hour and a half, you can get up into the Phoenix metro area, and obviously there's a lot of opportunities up there. Overall, we grade the site at Pump Station Road at average to good. There was some local entertainment. The site was very beautiful. We just had a couple problems that kept it down to an average experience for us. Local support for your utilities, for your water and your propane are reasonable, though water is a ways away. You would want to show up to this site with your tanks full of water. And again, the location is a mixed bag. We give it an average grade, being between Tucson and Phoenix and being by Picacho Peak State Park, but it's still not really close to anything either. Overall, this is a great place for us to stay, just exactly for the reason we needed it. We just needed a hideout for a week or so, let some cooler weather pass up north at higher elevations, and then we were on our way. All right, folks, it is a travel day. We've been heading southwest since August 1st of 2022, all the way from the northern tip of Maine to Tucson, Arizona. It's time to change direction, head north. We're spending the summer up in the high elevations of Colorado. We're gonna start moving that way now. We're gonna drive to Globe, Arizona. We're leaving later in the day since we got a full day of work in already. We'll stay in the Walmart parking lot overnight. That's halfway between here and our destination of Holbrook, Arizona, and Petrified Forest National Park.